people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back or something.
Kevin Durant sparked massive controversy after appearing to mock Michael Jordan's first retirement, the one that came shortly after the tragic death of Jordan's father. As Durant made the comment, LeBron James sat beside him laughing, and the internet immediately exploded. Jordan fans were furious, and the backlash spread fast. Before long, the criticism spilled over to LeBron's own family, with his son Bronny caught in the middle. Social media began accusing Bronny of benefiting from nepotism, claiming his path to the league was easier because of his last name. That comparison quickly turned into a debate about how Michael Jordan handled his sons versus how LeBron has handled his, and many people felt the contrast did not favor LeBron. To understand how things spiraled this far, you have to rewind to July 2025. On what seemed like a normal day of scrolling through social media, Kevin Durant dropped what many called the most shocking take of the year. What made it even more explosive was where he said it, on LeBron's own podcast. The boldness of making that statement in LeBron's space shocked fans, and the fallout was immediate. The internet erupted. Timelines were flooded with reactions, and even weeks later, people were still debating what it all meant. The moment happened on Mind the Game, LeBron James's podcast, co-hosted by JJ Redick. Normally, the show focuses on basketball IQ, strategy, and deep conversations about greatness and the mental side of the game. This episode, however, took a very different turn. Kevin Durant was brought in as a special guest, with Steve Nash also present, creating a stacked lineup that immediately grabbed attention. At first, everything felt relaxed. Good energy, thoughtful discussion, and respectful basketball talk. Then Durant shifted the tone. He began speaking about commitment and what it truly means to dedicate your life to basketball year after year, without breaks or distractions. At first, it sounded like a harmless reflection on discipline and focus, but suddenly he dropped a line that changed everything. It was the kind of comment that made listeners pause and ask themselves whether they really heard what they thought they heard. From that moment on, the conversation and the internet was never the same.
Baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
LeBron James, his reaction, said everything. The moment Kevin Durant made his comment, LeBron burst into uncontrollable laughter. Not a polite chuckle, but the kind where you can barely breathe. It was obvious he knew exactly who Durant was talking about. Durant never mentioned a name, but he didn't have to. When he said, "I'm not the type to just go play baseball and then come back," the message landed instantly. There's only one player in NBA history that line could apply to: Michael Jordan. The internet exploded within seconds. The backlash wasn't just about shade, it was about history. Michael Jordan's first retirement in October 1993 was not some casual break from basketball. It came just months after the murder of his father, James Jordan Sr., in July of that year. Jordan had just completed his first three-peat, was at the absolute peak of the sport, and was emotionally shattered. When he stepped away, he openly spoke about grief, exhaustion, and losing his competitive drive. His decision to play baseball wasn't random either. It was deeply personal. His father had always dreamed of seeing him play professionally, and switching sports was Jordan's way of honoring that bond. That context is why Durant's comment hit so hard for longtime fans. Jordan's baseball stint with the Birmingham Barons in 1994 wasn't about chasing attention or escaping pressure. It was about memory and meaning. Jordan hit .202 across 127 games. Not great numbers, but he committed fully to something that mattered to him on a personal level. For many fans, Durant's remark felt less like playful commentary and more like a dismissal of one of the most emotional chapters in Jordan's life. LeBron laughing alongside him only amplified the outrage. Durant's comment had another layer as well. His reference to 22 straight seasons was widely interpreted as praise for LeBron's durability, 22 consecutive NBA seasons from 2003 to 2025. Regardless of where you stand in the GOAT debate, that level of consistency is unprecedented. LeBron's longevity is historic, and Durant was clearly acknowledging it. That's what made the moment so polarizing. Some heard praise, others heard comparison, and Jordan loyalists heard disrespect. Once the clip hit social media, chaos followed. YouTube thumbnails screamed controversy. Fan pages broke down every facial expression and pause. Reddit threads spiraled. TikTok creators stitched the clip non-stop, arguing that Jordan's baseball run was a tribute, not a weakness. Some defended Durant, saying he was simply talking about commitment. Others insisted it was a calculated jab at Jordan's legacy. Even international outlets called the moment playful rather than malicious, pointing out that the podcast's overall tone was relaxed. Still, LeBron's laughter became the focal point. As the face of the modern GOAT debate, every reaction he has is magnified. Fans saw his response as a silent endorsement of Durant's comment, a subtle shot at the man whose legacy he's been compared to for 2 decades. Fair or not, the optics mattered, and they fueled the fire. That fire quickly spread to an unexpected place: Bronny James. Within hours, the internet found a way to tie Durant's comment into the ongoing debate around LeBron's son. Bronny had been drafted 55th overall by the Lakers in the 2024 NBA draft, making history as part of the league's first father-son duo on the same team. To some, it was a beautiful moment. To others, it screamed nepotism. Critics pointed to Bronny's modest college stats at USC and questioned whether he would have been drafted without his last name. Media personalities piled on, calling the pick favoritism and accusing LeBron of pulling strings. Former players, analysts, and commentators debated whether the draft undermined meritocracy. Even Charles Barkley criticized the situation, suggesting the Lakers had set Bronny up for unnecessary pressure. The comparisons to Michael Jordan only intensified the debate. Jordan had 2 sons who played college basketball, and neither was drafted into the NBA. Jordan never intervened, never pressured front offices, and never used his influence to push them into the league. For Jordan supporters, that contrast became ammunition. Fan-made videos framed Jordan's silence as dignity and LeBron's involvement as overreach. Through it all, Bronny handled the storm with maturity. He spoke about blocking out noise, putting in work, and staying focused. LeBron, meanwhile, went into full dad mode, publicly defending his son and confronting critics. Support also came from prominent voices who pointed out that nepotism has always existed in the NBA, from players to coaches to owners. Others noted the racial double standard in how legacy is framed depending on who holds power. What started as a single line on a podcast spiraled into a full-blown cultural debate about legacy, family, grief, power, and greatness. Durant's comment didn't just reopen the Jordan versus LeBron argument, it dragged an entire new generation into it. And once again, the NBA proved that no matter how many years pass, the GOAT debate never sleeps.